adversary by humbling himself before him. Sir John Chester again exclaimed with an air of great gaiety, "Now, really, this is a most remarkable meeting," and took a pinch of snuff with his usual self-possession. "Mr Haredale," said Gashford, stealthily raising his eyes, and letting them drop again when they met the other's steady gaze, "is too conscientious, too honourable, too manly, I am sure, to attach unworthy motives to an honest change of opinions, even though it implies a doubt of those he holds himself. Mr Haredale is too just, too generous, too clear-sighted in his moral vision to—" "Yes, sir," he rejoined with a sarcastic smile, finding the secretary stopped. "You were saying—" Gashford meekly shrugged his shoulders, and looking on the ground again, was silent. "No, but let us really," interposed Sir John at this juncture, "let us really, for a moment, contemplate the very remarkable character of this meeting. Haredale, my dear friend, pardon me if I think you are not sufficiently impressed with its singularity. Here we stand, by no previous appointment or arrangement, 3 old schoolfellows in Westminster Hall, 3 old boarders in a remarkably dull and shady seminary at St. Omer's, where you, being Catholics and of necessity educated out of England, were brought up, and where I, being a promising young Protestant at that time, was sent to learn the French tongue from a native of Paris." "Add to the singularity, Sir John," said Mr Haredale, "that some of you Protestants of promise are at this moment leagued in yonder building to prevent our having the surpassing and unheard of privilege of teaching our children to read and write, here, in this land, where thousands of us enter your service every year, and to preserve the freedom of which we die in bloody battles abroad in heaps, and that others of you, to the numbers of some thousands as I learn, are led on to look on all men of my creed as wolves and beasts of prey, by this man Gashford. Add to it besides the bare fact that this man lives in society, walks the streets in broad day, I was about to say holds up his head, but that he does not, and it will be strange, and very strange, I grant you." "Oh, you are hard upon our friend," replied Sir John with an engaging smile. "You are really very hard upon our friend." "Let him go on, Sir John," said Gashford, fumbling with his gloves. "Let him go on. I can make allowances, Sir John. I am honoured with your good opinion, and I can dispense with Mr Haredale's. Mr Haredale is a sufferer from the penal laws, and I can't expect his favour." "You have so much of my favour, sir," retorted Mr Haredale, with a bitter glance at the third party in their conversation, "that I am glad to see you in such good company. You are the essence of your great association in yourselves." "Now, there you mistake," said Sir John, in his most benignant way. "There, which is a most remarkable circumstance for a man of your punctuality and exactness, Haredale, you fall into error. I don't belong to the body. I have an immense respect for its members, but I don't belong to it, although I am, it is certainly true, the conscientious opponent of your being relieved. I feel it my duty to be so. It is a most unfortunate necessity, and cost me a bitter struggle. Will you try this box? If you don't object to a trifling infusion of a very chaste scent, you'll find its flavour exquisite." "I ask your pardon, Sir John," said Mr Haredale, declining the proffer with a motion of his hand, "for having ranked you among the humble instruments who are obvious and in all men's sight. I should have done more justice to your genius, Men of your capacity plot in secrecy and safety, and leave exposed posts to the duller wits.' 'Don't apologise for the world,' replied Sir John sweetly. 'Old friends like you and I may be allowed some freedoms, or the deuce is in it.' Gashford, who had been very restless all this time, but had not once looked up, now turned to Sir John and ventured to mutter something to the effect that he must go, or my lord would perhaps be waiting. 'Don't distress yourself, good sir,' said Mr Haredale. 'I'll take my leave, and put you at your ease,' which he was about to do without ceremony, when he was stayed by a buzz and murmur at the upper end of the hall, and, looking in that direction, saw Lord George Gordon coming in, with a crowd of people round him. There was a lurking look of triumph, though very differently expressed, in the faces of his two companions, which made it a natural impulse on Mr Haredale's part not to give way before this leader, but to stand there while he passed. He drew himself up, and, clasping his hands behind him, looked on with a proud and scornful aspect, while Lord George slowly advanced, for the press was great about him, towards the spot where they were standing. He had left the House of Commons but that moment, and had come straight down into the hall, bringing with him, as his custom was, intelligence of what had been said that night in reference to the Papists, and what petitions had been presented in their favour, and who had supported them, and when the bill was to be brought in, and when it would be advisable to present their own great Protestant petition. All this he told the persons about him in a loud voice, and with great abundance of ungainly gesture. Those who were nearest him made comments to each other, and vented threats and murmurings. Those who were outside the crowd cried, 'Silence!' and 'Stand back!' or closed in upon the rest, endeavouring to make a forcible exchange of places, and so they came driving on in a very disorderly and irregular way, as it is the manner of a crowd to do. When they were very near to where the secretary, Sir John, and Mr Haredale stood, Lord George turned round, and, making a few remarks of a sufficiently violent and incoherent kind, concluded with the usual sentiment, and called for 3 cheers to back it. While these were in the act of being given with great energy, he extricated himself from the press, and stepped up to Gashford's side. Both he and Sir John being well known to the populace, they fell back a little, and left the 4 standing together. 'Mr Haredale, Lord George,' said Sir John Chester, seeing that the nobleman regarded him with an inquisitive look. 'A Catholic gentleman, unfortunately, most unhappily a Catholic, but an esteemed acquaintance of mine, and once of Mr Gashford's. My dear Haredale, this is Lord George Gordon.' 'I should have known that, had I been ignorant of his lordship's person,' said Mr Haredale. 'I hope there is but one gentleman in England who, addressing an ignorant and excited throng, would speak of a large body of his fellow subjects in such injurious language as I heard this moment. For shame, my lord, for shame!' 'I cannot talk to you, sir,' replied Lord George in a loud voice, and waving his hand in a disturbed and agitated manner. 'We have nothing in common.' 'We have much in common, many things, all that the Almighty gave us,' said Mr Haredale, 'and common charity, not to say common sense and common decency, should teach you to refrain from these proceedings. If every one of those men had arms in their hands at this moment, as they have them in their heads, I would not leave this place without telling you that you disgrace your station.' 'I don't hear you, sir,' he replied in the same manner as before. 'I can't hear you. It is indifferent to me what you say. Don't retort, Gashford.' For the secretary had made a show of wishing to do so. 'I can hold no communion with the worshippers of idols.' As he said this, he glanced at Sir John, who lifted his hands and eyebrows as if deploring the intemperate conduct of Mr Haredale, and smiled in admiration of the crowd and of their leader. 'He retort!' cried Haredale. 'Look you here, my lord. Do you know this man?' Lord George replied by laying his hand upon the shoulder of his cringing secretary, and viewing him with a smile of confidence. 'This man,' said Mr Haredale, eyeing him from top to toe, who, in his boyhood,